With the new Mansions DLC coming out in just a few weeks on December 9th, I've looked at every Newswire screenshot, every mission, every line of dialogue, every mansion on the map, and Rockstar's DLC history to narrow down every possible mansion location we could expect, how much they could be, and even what the interiors might be like. So without further ado, let's do a deep dive on the Mansion DLC. To start off, we obviously know that there's going to be 2 or possibly 3 new mansions being built around the map, based on the missions and the new construction equipment placed up in the Rhinewood Hills. This is very similar to what we saw leading up to the Casino DLC, when the casino got an entire rework on its exterior. There was construction equipment that appeared over the weeks, and for this DLC it all appeared this week. Moving to the Rockstar Newswire, I want to take a look at the screenshots that they provided. Starting off with this Swift Deluxe in the golf course, if you look at the angle that this picture was taken, there's no chance that any new buildings are in the background. I even took a quick look at the in-game comparison and nothing looks different. The same can be said for this import-export bonuses screenshot, which is weirdly enough an impossible photo and is clearly 2 photos edited together, because this angle for the buildings in the background don't line up with the road at all. It's not even close, we're in the sky. And then we move to this month's GTA Plus Newswire post, which has a screenshot of the Paragon S, which you can get for free as a member, at one of these new mansions. Many people may have thought that this was Devin Weston's mansion, but if you look closely, those balls on the left side and some of the foliage doesn't line up with the exterior of his mansion. Plus, on the back mountain, you can see the observatory, which tells us it's actually the mansion that's being built at this location, which would line up with the observatory in the background. The same mansion can be seen in this screenshot that features the free clothing and free Revolta that we can get with the new VIP systems, featuring the same balls on the backside, same foliage, but at a different angle. Now, of course, we also have the most popular screenshot of all, the new listing screenshot, which shows the backside of the mansion, and many people are saying that this is a new interior on Devin Weston's mansion. But let's break it down even closer. First off, I'd like to make a shout out to Digital Car Addict, who made an observation of the helicopter on the roof and actually narrowed down exactly what helicopter would be. So, whichever mansion this may be will be modeled with a helipad on top. Not to say that Devin Weston's couldn't be remodeled, but let's touch on that now. If we look at Devin Weston's mansion, you can see that there is no railing, the tree goes right to the ground, and these bricks down at the pool don't line up with their cracks. What this tells us is that some of these new mansions will likely be very similar, if not possibly carbon copies of Devin Weston's mansion in different locations. But Devin Weston's mansion isn't the only mansion of this style around the map currently. There's one more we need to talk about. Located up near Lake Vinewood, we have a mansion that has the exact same layout and very similar exterior vibes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yes, this mansion is used in a Dr. Dre setup mission, which would technically mean they'd have to scrap that mission or change it entirely, which would be a lot of work. So maybe it's not possible for this to be a purchasable mansion by itself. But we need to keep in mind, when previous properties have been introduced, for example stilt houses, which is the closest comparison we have, every single stilt house had almost an identical exterior, because the interiors were reused. There was only 2 different interiors used with the stilt houses, and they had to fit within the confines of that house design. So obviously, they all had to look fairly similar from the outside, and that's exactly what happened. We also know that the building up at Lake Vinewood isn't from the screenshots because it still doesn't line up. And if you look closely at the bottom right of this screenshot, you can tell that the design is more closely related to Devin Weston's mansion rather than this one. With that being said, we do need to keep in mind that all of these mansions need to have a similar exterior design, and unlike stilt houses, mansion designs are a bit more hard to come by to have a lot of them line up. Obviously, the new designs could be whatever they want them to be, and look like they'll most likely match Devin Weston's house. So if they manage to move that mission or scrap that mission from the Dr. Dre contract, which would make it easier, so we can't really complain, there would be 4, potentially 5 locations. The reason I say potentially 5 is because of how large this construction site is. It could be very possible that there are 2 mansions being built here, or one just right in the middle. We won't know until either a trailer reveals it or the DLC is out on December 9th. Now let's talk about interiors, because interiors are something that Rockstar has been reusing a lot of in recent years, and although they could take some interiors from GTA 6 and we probably wouldn't be too upset about that, it's more than likely that they'll try and reuse some some interiors. Even if they made a new one for Devin Weston's house that's been copy and pasted into the new buildings, what are some interiors that we could see returning into the game? Well, obviously one of the largest houses that we have an interior for is Franklin's house, but Franklin's house is one of a kind, isn't it? No, it isn't. There's actually two almost identical houses that have the same layout, similar to the other options we talked about. One is up at Lake Vinewood again, which has a similar layout with a different exterior design for the pool, and the other one is farther to the west, just down from the new construction site. So there's always a possibility that these two large houses could be given slightly modified interiors taken from Franklin's house and be purchasable as cheaper options for the mansions. I've also managed to find one more mansion with a similar outline to Franklin's house, so here it is on screen. This is that one house where it kind of splits off at the top of the Vinewood Hills. There are missions at this one, but they're less important than Dr. Dre. Now obviously I flew around the map to look for other options that had two or more identical houses, and here's what I found. We have these two very shaped and very unique buildings, which at first during my stream I thought there was only one of these, but I did manage to find a second one. Both of them have great views and a decent location, so these could also possibly be contenders, but they would again need a completely redone interior, because nothing would match this current design. The same can be said for this house design, which I managed to find three fairly similar options. But again, the interiors would have to be completely built from scratch, or taken from GTA 6, so it's less likely. And finally, we have these two buildings, which are identical, have pools, and just seem great. But in this case, they're mirrored from each other, so it'd be even less likely for them to have identical interiors. One other mansion location that a lot of people are hoping we're able to purchase is the Playboy Mansion, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's gonna happen. It's a very iconic place around the map, and although there aren't any major missions, building an interior for just that one design would be a lot of work, and they couldn't use that same design since it has such a unique shape. Now, when it comes to interior customization, we obviously have the updated penthouses, which have multiple versions that we can upgrade them with. In recent DLCs, the properties that we could purchase had very basic and non-customizable interiors. So I'm hoping that the mansions will use some of the aspects seen with the higher end penthouses, which have 8 or 9 different layouts for the interior, but also it'd be nice to be able to use some of our casino penthouse decorations and customize the space as our own with decorations. Now the reason that both of these would be likely is because both of these aspects already exist in the game, and with a mansion DLC that was originally supposed to be the last DLC of GTA 5 and might still be, it's likely that Rockstar wanted to go a little bit more above and beyond than they have in recent DLCs. So how much can we expect these mansions to cost? Well, looking at some previous high-end luxury things like the Luxor Deluxe or the yachts, those are 8 to 10 million, and I would not be surprised if on the cheap end these also cost up to $10 million. Then again, they could also have different interior customizations, different things to unlock like helipads, more garage space, and other add-ons, which could drive the price up to what I'm guessing to be closer to $18 million. Now, one of the main reasons that we know these mansions are going to be so expensive compared to everything else in the game is because of the amount of money and opportunity that Rockstar is giving us right now. Last week, we had guaranteed Panther statues for Cayo Perico, which are worth almost $2 million. And if you complete the 3 super easy missions before December 7th, you'll get $2 million off your first mansion and a $1 million bonus. That adds up to almost $5 million that they've just given us for almost no effort. So there you have it, my deep dive on everything we can figure out about the Mansion DLC right now. I'll be sure to update this once we get a trailer or more information, but let me know what your guesses are in the comments below, and let's just hope that we get some good cars with this DLC as well.